Let's go and thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. A couple of, about a year or so ago, we had Patty Farmer on with us, and she writes these wonderful books. She wrote about when people think of Playboy magazine, they always think of, Leanne Tweeden. They think of
the articles.
Yeah, the articles. But Playboy magazine was a cultural pioneer in so many ways, not just in sexual revolution, but also in terms of music, in terms of the arts, fiction, original fiction, the articles, and comedy. And when the Playboy clubs, for instance, were at their peak, headlining at a Playboy club was a major feather in the cap of any comic, and a lot of brilliant comics got their start really got their big boost through Playboy. And also, of course, the cartoons and the humor columns. My hero in life, Gene Shepard, the great radio monologuist Gene Shepard, he wrote and narrates A Christmas Story, which virtually everybody's seen. He was a regular contributor to Playboy magazine in terms of original fiction. In fact, Hugh Hefner in 1960, I want to say 3, 4, or 5, might have been 3, sent him to England, and he traveled with the Beatles for 2 weeks, and he wrote a profile of the Beatles, one of the very first major magazine profiles of the Beatles.
Oh,
but
cool.
Patty Farmer is back with us, and she's got a brand new book called Playboy Laughs, The Comedy, Comedians, and Cartoons of Playboy, with a foreword by Bill Marx, who's the son of Harpo Marx. It's a pleasure to welcome to the show Patty Farmer. Patty, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Doug?
I am fine. Nice to have you
morning.
back with us. This was a perfect follow-up to your previous book because the comedy aspect of the Playboy empire is often forgotten, but it was a big part of what Hefner was about.
It was a huge part. And as a matter of fact, Hef wanted to be a cartoonist. And how different the world would have been if he had been successful there. But he was good, just not good enough to compete with the likes of Jack Cole and, all the other Al Jaffe and Arnie Roth and all those great folks.
Yeah, Al Jaffe, of course, worked for Mad Magazine, didn't he?
Worked for him. I have to tell you, Doug, I just visited him again, and at 96, he is still working for them.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear because I was weaned on Mad Magazine. Now, it's interesting because some people might remember the show Playboy After Dark, which is, you can find it. It's available in video downloads. And that was this sort of, now it's just absolutely, utterly fascinating to look at. But it was a combination of Hef in the smoking jacket and Playboy bunnies with actors and musicians and comedians and writers, and it was just sort of a salon of conversation. But there were always comedians involved there. And this is when Playboy was based in Chicago, and so you had the Chicago group. You had like the Bob Newharts, for instance, all the Chicago-based comics coming through there.
Right, the sick comics, as they were called, and that included Lenny Bruce and Mort Saul. And nowadays, you kind of scratch your head a little bit and go, Bob Newhart in that group, but he was as irreverent as everybody else at that time.
Yeah, and of course, Bill Cosby, the bloom is off the rose, to say the least, with Bill Cosby. But there was a time Bill Cosby was a big part of that world. Oh,
definitely. He was a big comedian, a friend of Playboy, a friend of Hef's, and he was the MC for the Jazz Festival for
30 years. I think he did.
30 years.
I think he did it for 30 years. We used to have him on here almost every year prior to the Playboy Jazz Festival to talk about the lineup. We're talking about Patty Farmer. Her book is called Playboy Laughs, The Comedy, Comedians, and Cartoons of Playboy, and it's available in bookstores, published by Beaufort Books. And it's in stores as of today, as a matter of fact, with over 60 photos and cartoons. So that's available in good bookstores and online as well. What was the most surprising thing that you discovered while doing research for this?
Just the abundance of great talent that really started at the Playboy clubs. I had the good fortune to talk to Joni Rivers before she passed, and she was part of a trio. Many people don't know that. Jim, Jake, and Joan. And she honed her act and her timing working at the Playboy clubs. and on and on. You know, you had the starting out comics as well as the headliners. Shucky Green was there, Rich Little was there, and they all loved being there. And even when they weren't on stage, they were in the audience. You know, even the cool cats like Tony Bennett, who is celebrating a birthday today. I'm sure you all know.
Yes, we know that, right. We gave him a shout-out earlier.
I was at his birthday party last year. I can't believe it's been a year. But all these great folks would go and just hang out at the Playboy Club. Sinatra, John Lennon, when they came over for the Ed Sullivan show, the city was at their feet, and they said, "Where do you want to go tonight?" And John Lennon and his then wife Cynthia said, "We want to go to the Playboy Club." So it was just a wealth of talent, sometimes two comedians at the same club.
Well, the book is in stores now, folks. Playboy Laughs, forward by Bill Marx, who, by the way, in addition to being the son of Harpo Marx, is also a fabulous piano player. The Comedy, Comedians, and Cartoons of Playboy by Patty Farmer. Patty, good luck with the book. Thanks for chatting with us.
Thank you. Nice visiting. Take care.